Hey guys. So, yeah, we got a lot to talk about with this episode, frankly, because right out of the gate, the episode establishes the route to get to Sunjul, as well as the reveal that despite the Eden Zero having traveled through the outer universe before, all the travel warp coordinates have been mysteriously erased. And it's little scenes and moments like that where hindsight really can be 2020 for this series as manga readers, because for as much fun as it is to believe what Shiki says is true, that Ziggy only did it for them to have their own experiences and their own adventure, the reality is going to be much more soul crushing for our young hero. I mean, don't get me wrong, Shiki will have an adventure, he will have experiences, but it'll be far from the happy go lucky one he's hoping for. Like, don't get me wrong, Shiki has had, like, he's had struggles, but a lot of them have been fairly easy up to this point. But just with the reveal of of Ziggy having erased everything, like it's showing just how much into danger that Ziggy is jumping in, that Shiki is jumping into. And I mean, don't get me wrong, like, and in fact, in some ways, it's kind of unnerving now to see how naive Shiki was compared to where he is now in the manga. Like, but I know it's been weirdly a little bit of a slow pace, and there are still people who think that pretty much Shiki is still a lot like Natsu. He's always happy. He's always outgoing. But the thing is, from here, Shiki is going to have a lot more like perspective changing events happen to him, so to speak. Um, and yeah, quick aside, but we get a major scene I was curious about how it would be animated, which is the giant school of fish swimming around the Eden Zero. And credit where it's due to JC staff, like I would say from like from just barring some barring a couple of minor quibbles I have, JC staff did that scene very justice. Like it was freaking beautiful. I'm not gonna lie. Like honestly, if I did have any quibbles or problems with it, it's that I feel they could have gotten a little more creative in how they animated the fish, or the fish felt like they had thicker, more pronounced line work in the manga version. But those were the extent of my criticisms with that scene, because again, it was just beautifully done. Like it was an array of color, and they really made the colors pop. I think that's the important thing. Each fish was colored so distinctively that they all stood out and popped, and pretty much popped off the screen. And I love it when an anime can do that, when it can make a scene just kind of pop off the screen and just feel like you're kind of experiencing it, kind of thing. Um, with that said, we meet a peculiar gentleman in this episode, simply known as Captain Connor. And yeah, obviously from what you see from watching the episode, he starts off as a very eccentric person. But as the episode goes on, the more that's revealed that this is someone who knows a lot more than he lets on by showing him, by us getting to see him ultimately guiding the ship towards a quicker path to Sunjul, completely avoiding the debris field. And they're revealed after that he's the captain of Eden's One. So let's quickly break that last part down a bit. The first thing this reveals to us is there's more than one Eden Zero model ship. But something I didn't realize from reading the manga until now is how much this opens up the possibility of Ziggy having an entire armada of ships. One thing you'll definitely notice going forward about the series, like season 2 and beyond for sure, is that it puts a lot more emphasis on just like space battle combat, and how a lot of these known figures have like large armies of large and powerful armies serving them. And this is one instance where it's giving us a glimpse into just how powerful Ziggy was in his prime. But and and yeah, and really a lot of the reveals surrounding Connor all pretty much tie back to Ziggy, but obviously for anime onlys, even if it gives us a reveal that there was more than one Eden Zero ship, it also this just the reveal that Connor had this connection to Ziggy at all shows that this adds a whole bunch more ominous questions onto the table for at least for anime onlys. But as a manga reader, for me, so many pieces I didn't even bother to notice before are starting to fit into place, which makes current circumstances all the more cruel and twisted. And especially, even more revealing of just how much knowledge Ziggy like stripped away from the star shines. Like that's another big thing is that this is kind of putting into perspective that Ziggy had pretty much stripped. It isn't just the memories; it's basically everything he stripped away from the star shines. Like he wanted to make sure, like I don't think even like Shiki could pretty much find his way. I don't think he was expecting this at all, frankly. Um, all that being said, once we land on Sunjul, we're immediately thrust into both the extravagant but also the dark side of Sunjul, is which is that it's a planet where obviously wealth is plentiful. There's just as much of a hidden iron grip that's got its grasp around the planet's neck. Because very early on, we're shown just through a simple bird droid that there are eyes watching everyone on the planet. In between the scene of the robbers, which I still find it to be a bit hilarious aesthetic detail, making the mask the fairy tale characters, and them subsequently getting killed in the way they did on top of our uh, our including our heroes getting sentenced to hard labor. Just that one scene in itself, the whole scene with the robbers, is a very revealing moment in showing from a certain perspective. You could say it's not just crime being punished on Planet Sunjul, but it's rebellion in general, meaning anyone who the Scarlet Woman from sees as a threat to her power or threatening her supremacy, they will be sentenced, and that's where the true dark underbelly of the planet gets revealed in that single moment. Like that's like those that have the wealth care very little for human life. That isn't doesn't care very little for human life. Even from which those who are committing, I guess, violence for the sake of helping. It's like, yeah, you can commit crimes. They're like they just don't care. They only care about the wealth they're being served, is which is a pretty standard thematic trope in itself, I suppose. Like this isn't nothing new, really, what we're seeing on Sunjul, but it is a sign of a changing culture on the planet as well. Like what we're seeing now isn't exactly what it used to be either. Of course, to that end, we also get the reveal of the Scarlet Leader herself having a meeting with Drac and Joe, which, oh boy, this is where the fun and the trauma really begins, ladies and gentlemen. It really begins here. Uh, Because with that said, the episode also gives us a brief look at Valkyrie with where Valkyrie is and how she's with someone else, a person who a bit of a portly small person. But if you look at one of the interesting things about this scene is that if you look at it a certain way, even though the anime didn't make any noticeable changes from the source material, when you look close up of Valkyrie carefully, there's certain noticeable parts of her body where the the anime kind of gives away the ghost as to her current appearance. Like if you notice if you notice that certain aspects of her body are chipped away or something like that, but so it kind of gives away the ghost a little bit. But unfortunately, that isn't gonna make everything building up to the actual reveal any less painful. like I guess it's no big surprise, but yeah, Valkyrie isn't all there, you could say. Um, if I did now, if I did have a genuine criticism about this episode, though, it's that it really has to do with the soundtrack and the music. Like that's kind of a weird thing for me to talk about, But this is one of those odd. This is one of those episodes where where there's more than a fair amount of times throughout the episode and watching it, especially in that first half with Connor, where it didn't entirely feel like the soundtrack matched what was going on screen. Particularly in the scenes like the reveal of who Connor really is, or something as simple as a scene between a character having suspicions of Connor. The music choices just didn't really work. Again, especially in that first half, it pretty much felt like the music was mismatched with the scene, and that they needed a different kind of music in order to more properly match the scene. Yeah, I don't know how else to describe it, but yeah, the just the music just didn't work for me, honestly, this episode. Um, but yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. I'm on Twitter, Analyst Crunchyroll. And be sure to hit the notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, all.